What's up, guys? It's Jam1 for Jam1TCG coming at you guys with another totally awesome video. And yeah, today we are in round 6 of Cimoooooooo Crush Cup online tournament. You guys are going to see me take on Orcust. So I win a dice roll here, which is very crucial and important for me in general. Yeah, this is me filming this a little bit after the big event at the PPG just took place and the big event of luxury gaming took place as well. So this is me with more knowledge as I'm filming this, but me playing here is a little bit later. So we'll see. This was me playing timeline. I'm unpausing it now. Me playing timeline, this was right after I just came out of LCS, which is the luxury gaming tournament. So I had a little bit more things. So you see me open okay here. I'm just going to set these interruptions because after playing in that tournament, I was like, man, people are trying to combo like crazy. So I just wanted to be able to stop whatever he might have done. If this wasn't an Animancipator board, these negations might have been enough to stop it. As you guys watched my live commentary from the actual event of PPG, we saw Emancipators win, like do crazy stuff. About 3 to 2 interruptions is what you need to stop them. So that's what I was thinking here, even though this is different me. So let's see what he does here in his main phase. They always pause and think because they're just like, whoa, set 4, what do I do? So, and I also told him, like, it's all good. Go ahead. I don't have any interruptions right now. Gonna fast forward here. Okay, so he starts off with a Jet Synchron, which that was scary. Like right now, me is like, whoa, I definitely wouldn't let nothing happen. But as you see right here, I'm reading and I didn't really know what it did at first completely, but I just knew that it was a combo starter. So I immediately on summon, I'm gonna have a response here, I believe, knowing myself. Yeah, so we flipped the Canada right there because I'm not about to let you do stuff. This is a tuner. I don't want you to get into nothing. So I just go ahead and book a moon in right there with Canada, flip it face down. So he can't use it for any type of material. And now I know this is better. This was a good play because he won't get it in graveyard to even be able to send it off, send a card in his hand to the graveyard and get it back. So that was a really good play. And then he just sets. I didn't know what he was playing. I'm like, wow, really? One interruption was all it took? I was happy here. It looks like he just passes. On the end phase, I go ahead and start to trigger out my stuff to get my board presence now. I tell you guys, I asked them for a response because if you chain something directly to Paleo, I won't be able to special summon it. So when they say, yeah, sure, and they have no response, then I'm good to say chain my card. So I'll go ahead and chain Canada that I just put in the graveyard to bring it out. And then now I see that he's playing Orcust because we hit a crescendo here. And I'm like, oh, okay, Orcust in this format, that's interesting. Now that I know what it is, though, I started to say, okay, I need to get my board going here. So I go ahead and flip Trap Tricks. All of this is on his end phase. And again, they could have hand responses, is why I'm still asking to be sure. It could have been a DD Crow or anything. So don't be like, oh, he has no fill. Why are you asking? Because it could be something in his hand. So again, anytime traps are activated, I can then go ahead and special summon one of my monsters as traps as monsters from the graveyard. So I go ahead and I banish a dino because at this point I'm still not 100% what he's doing, but I did know if he's playing Orcust, the minute I see a Galatea, I want that thing out of there. So I'm trying to set up for next turn. So Dino Miscus will allow me to banish whatever he summons after this. But now I have board presence and he has nothing. That was a hard end on him. So I'm like, ooh, boy, here we go. So he did have something on the standby phase. He uses Crescendo's graveyard effect, which because it's a trap card, he can activate this as a quick effect here. Spell speed 2 effect. So he goes ahead and he banishes it, and then he'll get that ad off of it. And he's asking me if I have any response. So it's always really good to communicate with your opponent, like I said, making sure that they don't have anything, making sure you're good too, because sometimes people will be like, the arguments and miscommunication go where they'll be like, oh, I had something, and then you're like, but you didn't say anything. So by asking, and he has a nightmare here, by asking this, you double check to make sure that nothing bad is going to happen. So, okay, so I end up going to my main phase, and I want to get some damage in. I knew that thing was pretty weak. It has 0 defense, actually. So these are at 1,200, so I go ahead and attack instead of just going straight into my Exceeds play here. So then he takes some damage here. And then main phase 2, There we go, guys. Overlay into my Totally Awesome Exceed monster. Say hello to Totally Awesome, our boss monster and mascot of the channel. This is looking pretty here. So I got to evenly match in my hand to be able to back up any plays that he takes control, which is why I main deck it. I told you guys this before if you've been watching the other coverage. And then I go ahead and I set a compose. So I got Toad on board, our boy. I got some negate, a negate here with Toad, Omni negate. I got Compose to bounce back a Galatea or whatever he's going to do. I got the Dino to also banish the Dingirsu or whatever might come on board. And then I even have an impermanence here. And remember, I told you guys I put it in the middle column because a lot of people misplay and they play their cards in the middle column. So just by like habit. So it's good to just have it there to negate. But I'm at here with an Ash on Toad's effect, which is okay. I mean, that was probably the only play he was going to be able to use the Ash for anyway. So I mean, good on him by doing that. So, but yeah, I'm like, I'm good, fine. I don't have Toad's effect. I still get to negate. I can tribute himself off, which is scary. To be honest, like I don't want to tribute Toad off because Call by the Grave exists now, like I said, and Toad is at 1. So if I tribute him off for himself, he'll be dead. But yeah, it looks like he was lagging out here. So let me see if I can go to the next move. Okay, there it goes. So he was lagging, but then it goes. So he goes return. We've seen this card used in 2 formats ago, how strong it is. It's basically Pot of Greed for Orcust. They get to send a card, Nightmare. Sorry, an orchestrated card. You see it right there. Orcust card in a Aurora wand, and then it can draw 2 cards. I think here, because I don't know if I want him to get more cards. I'm already in a good position, and I have enough here. So I go ahead, you see me negate with Toad because I didn't want him to get more advantage than the cards I have on field. Like I said, it's all about the tempo. The tempo is who has more advantage in time. Right now, by denying him 2 more cards, he's left with 3 cards. So each of my cards can meet his cards if I need to be. And technically, I even have a card in hand, so I have more advantage here. When Toad tributes himself, I can get a water back, which the only water I have here, as you see, is Toad himself. So I'm going to add Toad back and hope that it doesn't get called by. I was praying that it didn't because it's scary. And he says, okay, I'm like, whew. So I can make Toad again next turn. He asked me if I wanted to set it, and I told him no. Toad can steal it, but I don't find a reason to do it. The only time I'll do that is if it's a card I can use myself, or if it's just a card that I don't want them to have in graveyard. So I just say no, you can keep it. I don't care. So he then had another one, which was interesting. Because I negated it, he can activate it. I know you guys are looking like it's just once per turn. Remember, if a card was negated, it was never used. So you can then go ahead and do it. Well, I won't say it was never used, it just wasn't activated. Because use is a different thing. But okay, so he does go ahead and he +2s here, +1 with the drawing the 2 cards, which is okay. Because I still have the same card advantage that I had before. And yeah, look at here. He goes and he uses a 1-for-1 discarding a lion to go ahead and bring out a level 1, which has to be brass bombard. Guys, whoa. I can't say that tongue twister there, but yeah, I believe it's the level 1. Yep, that thing, the level 1 Orcust. So it's here, and I'm just thinking like, well, what can he do with just 2 cards? And then I remember right there, he says Olion effect. I'm like, oh yeah, Olion does have an effect once you send it. Went away. Well, you guys will see it in a second. I didn't have a response to it. So it basically lets him generate a token. And here's the play that I was saving this for. I don't want him to even go into the Galatea or anything. And I go ahead and I banish here the Dino Miscus. This actually was a misplay. And you'll see why. He sent the wand to the graveyard, which meant that by banishing an Orcust card, I should have hit the token. But my smart self decides to banish the token. I don't know why I did that. I must have been tired or just not thinking. This is typical Jam misplays. My brain acts too fast and I get excited because I'm winning, and then I just do something stupid. So I hit the brass bombard. That was bad. I should have hit the token and deny him an access to Galatea. He would have had no way to get into stuff. So yeah, here it goes. He uses his normal summon on Armageddon, which is a very strong normal summon. I think here, I do have the imperm, so I'm thinking if I wanted to use it or not. And you see me bringing out the other paleo so I can have more board presence here. So I'm just thinking like, okay, I can outrun him here. So I go ahead and I shotgun the imperm to stop that. I don't want him to get any more cards in graveyard. I'm already meeting him card for card like I planned and intended on, but I don't want him to get more stuff. So that's why I went ahead and just stopped that from just sending anything to the graveyard. Plus, Orcust, that's all they do. They send all their junk to the graveyard, then they like are fully loaded and they just start just comboing on you. So I was like, no, let me stop there. So now he's stuck and he's thinking. So he goes ahead and he links some in here, the Galatea, or no, sorry, not Galatea. He didn't have the Orcust card to do it. This card right here. This card was interesting. It came out in that new set that just dropped, Duel Overlord, and I saw it, but I never read it before. So I was like, whoa, let me read this here. And it has some interesting effects. It has 2 effects basically, and you guys can read it right there. So I'm not sure. I think that was really the only play he could do. So that's why he did this. And you see, I'm saying I was reading because I didn't know what it did. So I have a response on the summon. I just go ahead and compulse it back to the extra deck because, again, I just want to deny him all hope. Plus, I have a Paleo engraved, so the more monsters on board I have next turn, I know he can't clear them both, all 3 of them. So I just was like, okay, well, I'm good. If I just bounce that back, I should be good to sit here and make another Toad next turn. Or I could even go OP if I had to. So I go ahead and I bounce it back. And like I said, you see me change this list a little bit as this goes on because we're allowed to do that. So I don't remember if I'm running that one package that I was before in this build, but here I have 3 Paleos, and here was the misplay, like I said, and now his follow-up is here. He goes and he banishes the wand from the graveyard, which lets him bring back the bombard that I banish. So bad, guys. That was such a bad play. Little things like this can cost you the game, too. So if you guys aren't familiar, I'm letting you read it there. But that's his effect. It can always bring back an Orcust Banish card, which, my defense, too, I hadn't played Orcust in a while. So, like, it was kind of like, duh, brain fart. So, yeah, so he goes and he does that. He uses Nightmare's effect in graveyard, target a card on field, give it some attack, and then he'll send another Orcust card, which is probably going to be the card that he wanted to send off of the Armageddon. So here goes Skeleton, which Skeleton in graveyard can banish itself and bring out an Orcust, which I'm looking okay. Who cares? You don't really have many cards in graveyard, so it's not going to be a big deal. And it lags here a little bit again. So there he goes, and he sends the Brass Bombard to make Link Karibo, because it is a level 1. But he really just wanted the Bombard in graveyard so he can now make a Galatea. So he banishes Skeleton to bring out the Bombard. That's why he did that, right? And see, this is why this was a misplay. Did you see how much advantage he gained off of that one card because I banished it? Why? Why, Pass Jam? Why? Why do you do this to yourself? But yeah, so then he goes into the galley, baby galley on board, and now I'm kind of like annoyed because I did not want him to get this there. But I'm still in a good position. You know why? Because he can make a Dengirsu and send something to graveyard, but Dengirsu can't touch these because it's a monster effect. So they're unaffected by monster effects. So I'm happy that, like, okay, at least it's not too out of control. He put all his chips on the table now at this rate. So he goes ahead and uses Galatea's effect. Galatea can shuffle back one of their banish, and then he can set an Orcust card that's a spell or trap from his deck. He already banished a Crescendo, so he gets Babel instead. So I'm like, all right. Babel isn't too bad. Babel lets them have quick effects. It's a field spell. It lets them have quick effects on their turn, on my turn, which isn't terrible. They can use their graveyard effects and their field effects fast, but he doesn't really have anything in graveyard, so I'm not too scared of it. Like, I'm still in a really good position despite my misplay. So he goes and he overlays into his Dingirsu. So Dingirsu, again, I believe I asked him what effect are you using, because I don't know if he realized that he can't send any of my cards to the graveyard. He probably is just going to attach, because right now he doesn't really have much materials in his graveyard to do much. He's low on resources, and this is where I shine the most, because this is a simplified game state. So I have no type of response or anything, and he goes ahead and he uses the attach effect. So his second effect in Yursu, he can, if you guys don't remember, he can attach one of his Orcust cards that's banished as material underneath it instead of sending. So he goes ahead and he does that. And then he brings out the Nightmare and puts it back under here. And then he goes to battle phase, and I'm trying to warn him here. I'm like, you got to put it back. Zone placement is important here. You clog this zone with Dingir, so you have to put it back there. You can't just leave it there. And I don't know if he realized this is or not, but I'm like, hey, you got to put it back in that zone. And then there was a disconnect there. So I was like, ooh, ouch. He got a disconnect, which if you guys remember the rules of this tournament, that disconnect is a loss. But to be fair, he didn't really have any like plays to begin with. So I think I was going to win this one anyways. So we're going to go to the next game. Okay, so to the next game now, because we got to side because that was a disconnect. So he gets to choose if he wants to go first or second, but we also both got the side in this case. Unfortunate that he got the disconnect, but again, it was okay because I was gonna win that game most likely. He had no resources and he couldn't really fight the Toad, and I was gonna also just banish his Dingirsu with Opabinya, so that would have took him out the game. Without Dingirsu being able to end the limited resources, Toad and Opabinya would have been just enough to end it. And we don't know what I was gonna top deck, but so here we go to the next game. So I believe he decides to start because, again, it's not a good idea to let me go first. So, yeah, they go ahead and they start first. So he sets a few. This was confusing to me. I was like, Orcust setting this many cards? What's happening here? And I wasn't also familiar completely with how Orcust lists have changed. But in a way, I'm like looking like my hand, I have an evenly match here. So that's not too bad. Go ahead and set up on me. You see, I put the Mystic Mine in just to have something to follow up in case he did build a disgusting board that I couldn't break. Or maybe I was going to bait out his crescendo. Either way, I was looking pretty. Then he throws some spice at me. I have never seen an Orcust list play this. You see my emoji there with the face. He activated Trickstar in Reincarnation on me. I'm letting you read it right now, but basically it banishes my whole hand, and then I have to draw the same amount of cards. So this was disgusting because this was a really nice hand until he did that. I had a Swap Frog. I had all of these cards, and now I just have to lose them. You see me banishing my whole hand. This is the card that should have made, like a while ago, Trickstar to get banned or something, because it was really busted in Trickstar. You would do this loop and you would drop a Drolling Lockbird hand trap, and then your opponent couldn't draw cards, which was crazy. But yeah, I didn't think that I didn't see that coming. So we're gonna pause and look at my new hand here. But yeah, I didn't see this coming. It's actually a really good side deck card though, because it really throws off your opponent's siding. I thought about maybe running it after this, but I don't know, because as you see, my hand is a little bit almost better. Like, sure, I lost it evenly, but look here, we got Inspector Border, which is like the end all to combo. We have some interruptions. I have another way to get to mime. And then you see the spicy side that's going to be just like the icing right here. And Shadow Imprisoning Mirror. I was running this. I don't know if I'm running it in my current build right now. I think I took it out because there's not many decks like this running around. But this was in my side deck because Shadow's Dragon Link in the occasional Orcust or random dark deck, there was a lot of dark decks, and this just shuts off all their effects. So I'm like, wow, this is nice. I can go into a Toad. I can just build up floodgates. This was looking really nice for me. So looks like I set that first immediately. You see what I mean by habit though? I made a habit to not put cards in the middle zone. By habit, most people set the first card that is very like impactful into their strategy. So immediately I said that. But I also did that because I didn't want to risk And then you see him flip here. I try to go into a Toad. So this card is really good. It basically becomes a macros. Then I make another shock face because I'm like, what is this sideboard here? This sideboard is crazy. So sometimes they just have all the answers. So I said the mirror first because I didn't want to get reincarnated again. Because if he had another one, he was gonna make me lose it, and I knew this would be like a maybe win con, so I didn't want to lose it. But he flips this, and now I'm forced to banish all of my frogs that are being sent to the graveyard. I think the line of play here was to make a Toad and just protect the Shadow Imprisonment Mirror with Toad's Omni Negates, and then I would win. But when he did this, it really threw me off. I had to figure out how to pivot and do something different here. So I didn't want to send a Ronin, so I believe I sent a random Duke Frog because now that everything gets banished, I didn't want to lose my Ronin Tonin. So I'm like, okay, plan B now because I don't know what to do. I was going to make a Toad, but now it's impossible for me to make a Toad underneath this card's effect. So I go ahead and I swap Frog back to my hand and go to plan B. Summon a Silver Surfer. Just summon Silver Surfer pass after I set more cards is really kind of like the best way. If you guys aren't familiar with this card, it basically blocks off all effects until he controls an extra deck monster or an pendulum monster. But this is so strong. If you guys have watched many of my games, you see me win so many games just by this card alone. So I go ahead, Silver Surfer, just punch for damage. He's got a big booty on him. And yeah, I'm just like, hey, he ain't no slouch. Let's go. Get over this border first since you decided to mess up my whole hand. And it's really hard for Orcust to play under it because they need like 2 cards in order to get into Dingirsu or Galatea or Dingirsu. So it was really like hard for him to out this. But I'm looking pretty. And I got a negate in case he does get 1 on board. I have this as a backup for Mystic Mind. And I'm sitting pretty on the Shadow Imprisonment. So looking good here. He goes and says, main, yep, he's thinking. So he flips a Trap Tricks. I'm like, this is a really interesting Orcust build. Why is there so many trap cards into this deck? I didn't understand here. I also wonder, like, why didn't he use Trap Trick before? And now it makes sense. I'm like, okay, wow. So he's going to Trap Trick his own Imperm here. So he Trap Tricks his Imperm. He puts it in an open zone because he didn't want to risk me Imperming his Imperm. Oh, wait, no, never mind. He doesn't put it in open zone. He puts it right to my metaverse. So he wants to try to negate something. I think that was risky, though, because he really needed to negate the border. So by putting an Imperm where I could possibly have a card, and if he fires it right now, he risks me being able to negate one of his columns with my own Imperm. But he does go ahead and he fires it right now. So this was actually a good play here. But some people could have messed it up. So he goes ahead and he imperms the border to negate border's effect. And then that shuts off the same column card. So now I can't use his metaverse this turn, which is okay, but is also pretty good for them. And here comes the Gizmac here. So now that my border is shut off, I'm not able, border's effect isn't stopping his Gizmac from happening. So he goes ahead and he banishes for cost. Gizmac banish 8 and then special summons from the graver from hand, which is really strong. And I'm kind of like, ooh, this is good because he's stronger by some awkward attack points here at 40-50. He's stronger than Border, so he can just beat over Border. And Border was kind of the plan. I don't want to have to use the Shadow Imprisonment Mirror yet. I wanted to just basically win the game with Border. So this was like, he goes into battle phase and then he just goes ahead and then beats over Border. I take a little bit of damage here, 40-50. And then now that Border is gone, he can start the try to combo. So he goes with the Scrap Recycler and to be able to send something to graveyard. I believe I stopped this. You see me, I say think. I'm thinking here. I believe I stopped this because in this game state, I don't want him to like get more cards. Is usually my game plan here. But I also thought that if he sends something, I do have Shadow Imprisonment, and my Imperm is in his column, so I can negate whatever he does to try to stop Shadow Imprisonment. Let's say that was a Cosmic, right? Oops, I hovered over it's a Crescendo. I didn't mean to do that. But we see that it's a Crescendo. But if that was actually a Cosmic Cyclone, and I flipped over this, he would have chained Cosmic Cyclone, and then I would have been out of luck. So that's why I saved the Imperm and decided to go ahead and activate Shadow Imprisonment, making the Nightmare effect useless when he activates it. And then if that was a Cosmic, same column negate from the Imperm, and I would have been set. And this would have locked him out, which is why I did it like this. So yeah, that's why I say on resolution of the effect of Nightmare trying to activate. Or I believe I did it on Scrap Recycler. Either way, it must have been there because I believe he keeps that banish. But yeah, so we see here that looks really good. And it's funny too because I was gonna take Shadow Imprisonment Mirror out. I think I still do like after this duel, but before this duel, I was debating whether I wanted to keep it in here or not. So now I'm looking like decent. I drew a new card that I'm trying to test out here, and I've been testing this out. It's been pretty good. Shout out to Mike Wiz again. He talked about this tech, but I also thought about this a long time ago before. I think I remember sharing this with him at Nats last year. I told him about this card. Yeah. It basically lets me negate when they start to try to destroy my cards. And you can send things to the graveyard. Like in this case, we played Lilith. That was Mike's twist on it. He plays Lilith. So I was like, ooh, yeah, we thought this card was a good idea. I remember this. So now I go ahead, now that I'm not inhibited by that dumb card from last turn, I go ahead and I try to make a Toad, I believe. So I send on my normal summon. I go ahead and I send Ronin. And I have a Frog in graveyard, so I know I can go into Toad. And this is looking pretty good because I can just basically play my chess style mindset here, protect the castle, and just allow him to not be able to do anything by making a Toad and negating his stuff. Also, with Dark Sacrifice being on the board as well, if he does try to pop, the only out he'll have is Cosmic, and then I'll have the Toads Omni negate to stop the Cosmic. I'm still thinking that that could be a Cosmic. We saw that it's a Crescendo by accident, but now that we know that it's not a Cosmic, I'm like, okay, this is really good. Of course, playing, I didn't know what it was. But yeah, so I go ahead and I banish and bring out my Toadally Awesome Exceed Monster again. And yeah, Toad, our boy, he's out here putting that work. This is really good. This is like kind of an old school way that you play Frogs. Summon Toad, protect Floodgate. Like blowout Floodgate, which to Shadow Imprisonment Mirror against Orcust is so blowout. So I go ahead and I just like hit him with some damage here. This board is looking pretty nice. I do still have this Imperm here just in case. So I go ahead and I set the Dark Sacrifice, which will also protect anything from destruction, whether it be Toad or whatever. And now you guys are probably thinking, why did I leave Toad in attack mode? Well, if you guys remember on standby phase, I get to bring out a Graduation Frog, aka Dude Frog, and then protect Toad from battle because they have to lightning rod and hit him first. So that's what I do. And I'm like, this will buy me like 2 turns because what dark effects are he going to activate? His whole deck is dark. What can he do? Gizmac is scary, but not really, because in 1 turn, as you guys seen from my extra deck, we can run over a Gizmac. We have all kinds of ways to do it. We got Cat Shark to make Toad bigger. We got Boros Sword, even though I wouldn't make a Boros Sword underneath this, though, because, yeah, Boros Sword is a dark monster. So I believe he's thinking here. But I'm looking just like, yeah, what can he do? So he normal summons Skeleton, which I'm like, okay. I'm thinking he's probably trying to do a link play here, which looks like he does. Yep. Links into Galley. So, okay, I'm like, Galley is still not scary with Shadow Imprisonment Mirror face up. Like, you can't use this effect. And then what are you going to do? Overlay a Dingirsu into it? Who cares? It has no effect. And again, we're basically in the same situation that he was in. Big beater on board, and he wouldn't be able to do anything. But he doesn't even make a Dingirsu, which was interesting to me. I don't know why he didn't. He went straight to end phase. And now we think, and I understand now why he didn't, right? Because that face down is a Crescendo. That's why he did that. So I'm looking good. So you see me draw another new card that I'm trying out with this. So you basically go Dark Sacrifice with Backjack, and then you can get Backjack's effect, which Doesn't work if you draw backjack, but it's fine. I'm looking like this is still fine. I also can't use backjack underneath Shadow, Imprison, and Mirror, which is another reason why I think I take this card out eventually, because it does have some conflictions with my deck. But yeah, so I believe I go, oh yeah, this was a mistake here. I decided to just not use Toad's effect on the standby phase. And to be honest, after I was said here, I was supposed to use Toad's effect, but this is a tournament, so no takebacks. But actually, I didn't even try to argue because I thought about it. I was like, it's okay, actually. I don't want to overextend. My board is okay. And now that Dengirsu isn't there, I'm okay with this. I'm actually okay with this. It's a good thing I didn't use Toad's effect, because it would have been met with the crescendo, which would have actually hurt me. So one obstacle that I have to clear here is that Galley has a continuous effect that says if it's pointing to a monster, it cannot be, if it's linked, yeah, it can't be destroyed by battle. Shadow doesn't negate that because Shadow only negates activating effects, and that's a continuous effect. So I decide to move my Toad out of the zone by making a Coral, which is still really risky here, because if he had a call by, he can easily just banish the Toad. But I assume that, I don't know what that card was, but now I'm thinking that it could be something else here. So Toad's going to go ahead and use his effect in Graveyard to try to add himself back. And this is when I believe he will flip the crescendo, because he doesn't want me to have the Toad. Does he? I'm sure he does. And I try to use Coral's effect right here. I believe he stops me. Yeah, I was going too fast because I was excited. I was like, all right, let's go. But he had a response to Toad's effect, and yeah, he's gonna flip the crescendo. So crescendo being an omni negate, stopping my effect and banishing it, which is sad. But again, guys, Toad at 1 is sad, but it's all right. We can still win the game even without Toad. So he banishes Toad, and that's like, sad. Okay. We still got plays. So now I go ahead here and I bring out Coral. Coral, as you guys have seen me use this card before, one of the best cards that came out of Marince's support. You can special summon water. We bring out Swap, and then Swap Frog dumps. Swap Frog dumps a Ronin Tonant, and Graveyard is decently loaded here. There's not a whole lot he can do. Like, I moved out the Toad, so now I can beat over the Galatea. It's nothing really stopping it. And even like, I'm good. I literally don't see anything that he can do here. So I'm start banishing to summon out more cards. Ronin Tonant banish special. And then I just go ahead and go to battle because I don't really have a play since Toad is gone. I just go ahead and try to get some damage in. But honestly, the floodgate is enough, I believe. So that's why I don't even try to push for crazy nothing. I bounce Swap Frog back, and then I decide to wait, because next turn I can go ahead and make a Borosword or something bigger, like a Link 4 play. So that's why I just was like, I'm going to be patient. So he goes and he uses Allure Darkness. What a top deck, right? Because now he can draw 2 cards. But Blind Alluring is still scary even in a dark deck. And if he does have to banish 1 without losing his hand, well, he still only has 1 card in hand, right? So as we see here, he did draw a dark. He banishes out his Nightmare. And yeah, he really had no plays here. Stay tuned, guys. Stay tuned. Round 7 will be somewhere. Sorry for the delay, but yeah, click on the next video and you'll see the next video.